let's jump into some things related to network performance within AWS. Ned, I just picked out a lot of things from that PDF. We refer to the AWS Performance Efficiency pillar. One of those is EC2 placement groups.
Sure. The idea behind EC2 placement groups is, so for those who are not super familiar with AWS, EC2 is their virtual machines. They don't call them virtual machines, they call them instances because AWS makes up their own nomenclature. That's fine. The EC2 instances are running on a hypervisor, and the hypervisors are located in availability zones. And then availability zones make up a region. That's sort of the hierarchy, right? You can put two EC2 instances in the same availability zone, which means they're in the same general data center. But that doesn't mean they're in the same row or rack. When you put them in a placement group together, now those instances are running in the same rack, which means their network interconnection is, less than one hop away almost. It's probably hitting one switch at the top of the rack and coming right back down to that machine if they're not on the same machine itself.
Yeah, so rather than on the presumption there's like a leaf spine architecture with an AWS data center, you could be hopping from one leaf to a spine and then back out to another leaf, or even more deep than that, just depending. We're saying here that if you put two EC2 workloads in the same placement group, they are talking effectively directly to one another.
Exactly. So if you want to maximize throughput and minimize latency between two instances, say you're trying to build a high performance compute cluster, or you have some other similar application, if you want to maximize that performance, you have to put them in a placement group. And you kind of have to do that when you create them, because that's how AWS figures out where to place those EC2 instances. You can't take two existing instances and be like, oh, now be in a placement group. I think if you shut both of them down, you can, but when they're initially, if they're both currently running and not in a placement group together, AWS is not going to, vMotion it across the data center for you. I think the document you read says something about getting up to 20 gigabit per second speed.
It does. It specifies specifically low latency, 20 gigabits per second, low jitter. Yeah.
Yes, you're now getting more than that. I think the highest throughput on any EC2 instance is 100 gig now, and that is achievable through placement groups. And I'm sure that will go up between when I'm saying that and when, you are listening to this.
Nothing's free. So how much do I pay extra for an EC2 placement group?
The placement group is not actually extra. It's not something you have to pay more for. What you are sacrificing is availability. What you've now done,
because I'm not spreading my workloads out across multiple AZs or whatever. I'm sticking them together means they're now in the same failure domain.
Even closer of a failure domain. Before, they may have been in the same data center, but not in the same rack. Now your instances are definitely in the same rack. If something happens to that rack or that server, your application goes down. So you have to be able to design around that level of availability. You also have to select an instance that supports the extra network speed you're looking for. So it has to have what is called the Elastic Network Adapter, the Amazon Elastic Network Adapter. It needs to have that to achieve the higher speeds. And if you want the really, really fast speeds, you're paying more for that instance. So the placement group itself isn't an additional charge. It's the size instance that you need to drive that amount of network traffic that you're paying more for.
I was right. Nothing is free. Yeah. Okay. This is AWS we're talking about after all. but your point is taken. Yeah. The big thing is just the design trade-off there.